Hi guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. On today's video, I'm going to be talking about isotonic, hypotonic, and hypertonic fluids. If you're yet to subscribe to my channel, I'm about to be your nursing bestie, so click that subscribe button. I put out 2 videos weekly, so you don't want to miss any of my videos, okay? So let's get right into today's video. When we talk about isotonic fluids, these are fluids that it basically maintain the same osmolality as the patient's body. This fluid replaces what the patient has lost. So we have 2 types of isotonic fluid. We have the 0.9 normal saline, and then we have the lactated ringers. So what you need to know is 0.9 is that fluid that could be given with blood products, okay? You can't give any other IV fluid with blood products. Now, lactated ringers. If this patient has severe liver disease, you do not give lactated ringers because fluid contains lactate, and we know that the liver converts lactate to bicarbonate. So if the liver is not functional, you don't want to give lactated ringers. Now we have this one, right? It's called D5W. D5W is isotonic and also hypotonic. Now think about it this way. D5W is isotonic in the bag and hypotonic in the body. Now let's move on to our hypotonic fluid. Thanks to I think this was probably Simple Nursing, like one of the creators on here, how I learned it from him. He was like, when you think about hypotonic, think about a big hippo. You know, hippos eat a lot and they are big and fat, right? So when you have an hypotonic fluid, it makes the cells swell, okay? So he said hungry hippo makes the cell swell. So hypotonic, bigger cell, and isotonic, same level as what the patient has lost. So nothing is gonna happen to the cell stays the same. The fluid it just maintains like the normal level of the patient's blood volume. All right, cool. Now we know that one of the types of fluid belonging to this hypotonic range is D5W, because remember we said it is isotonic in the bag and hypotonic in the body, okay? Now other examples of this one, how I remember it is most of the fluids that fall under this one starts from a 0 point. So I'm going to give you an example. An example is 0.33% NaCl. Another example is 0.45% normal saline. Another example is 0.225% NaCl. Then the last one that kind of stands out that doesn't start with a 0 is D2.5W, which is 2.5 dextrose in water. That's the only one, but for the most part, most of it starts from a 0. So like 0.33, 0.225, 0.45. See, so that's how I remember mine. Then we move on to hypertonic. What I think about it is it makes the cell shrink. So like water is leaving the cell and it's going into the body, like the place that has less water. Does that make sense? So think about it. How I remember it is, you know, when you say something is hyper, it means it's a lot. And then tonic, in this sense, think solutes, more solutes. So the tonic represents, so there is more solutes in the body causing water to leave the cell. I could draw something for you, yeah? So imagine this is your cell, right? And then this is your body. Water goes to wherever we are lacking water. Does that make sense? So now your body is looking all shriveled up inside. There's no liquid flowing, right? Then your cell sees that, oh wait, this place needs fluid. So the fluid leaves your cell and goes to your body. So hypertonic fluid has more solutes. So when you give that fluid to the body, it makes fluid leave the cell. Then this is where you have like a shriveled, like reduced cell. While hypotonic is the opposite. Water is leaving that extracellular place and going into the cell to make it big, to make it like a hungry hippo. Okay, so now examples of hypertonic. How I remember this, it just has big numbers, like really big numbers, ridiculous. So you see things like D10W, D20W, D30W, D50W. Like, it's so easy to remember. You might also see D5 0.45, D5 NS. D5 NS is D5 normal saline. So now don't confuse this with D5W. When you write out D5W, remember D5W is either isotonic or hypotonic. So when you write things like D5 normal saline, or you write things like D5 0.45%, you just know that, oh, these are hypertonic. Or maybe you see something like D5LR, like D5 lactated ring gas, that is hypertonic. Okay, you might also see 3% normal saline, 5% normal saline. Like, it's so easy to remember, guys. Remember, under isotonic, I mentioned 3 things. I mentioned 2 things first, and I mentioned the last one, which is D5W, that belongs to both hypertonic and isotonic. The first 2 things I mentioned was 0.9 normal saline, and I mentioned lactated ring gas under isotonic. Then for hypotonic, I said most of it has 0 point. So you see like 0.225, 0.45, 0.33, you know, numbers like that would make you remember easily. Now we move on to the hypertonic with the big numbers, okay, like D10W, D20W, D30W, D50W, and then 3% normal saline, 5% normal saline, or maybe you see 5LR, D5 0.45%. So yeah, you just know that belongs to, that is hypertonic. Guys, isotonic solutions are usually used to treat intravascular dehydration. We use it to treat things like fever, burns, GI loss, you know, just to kind of maintain what was in the body before. For hypotonic, it's used to treat intercellular dehydration. So like maybe when there's extreme dehydration, this is when we give this. And for hypertonic, we use it to treat dehydration that may be from surgery or blood loss. It replaces sodium chloride. It replaces the electrolytes in the body basically. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll see you in my next video by the grace of God. Thank you so much for watching. Drop your comments, okay? If there is any way you remember and you really want to help other people, we'll be reading your comments. I will be reading your comments and I would interact. Thank you so much. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.